Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters Encounters video. I haven't done one of these in a while when it comes to those creepy crawler sightings, which are a fan favorite here on this channel. So I thought I would mix in another one here. This one yet again coming from the reddit.com website. They're from the subreddit called Crawler Sightings. This has to do with a case involving someone who encountered a crawler, this time though on the one of the reservations associated with the Navajo, and including their experience, it looks like it's gone on for quite some time, may even still be going on as of right now. But it comes from a user by the name of Depressed X Potato, and they titled theirs as "I'm dealing with something dangerous." Gives you an idea essentially of what level this crawler experience is. So let's go ahead and let's share that encounter, and then I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on it afterwards. So here's essentially what they stated. I live in Owasso, Oklahoma, pretty far from the Navajo res. I don't understand why this has been happening, but it's been going on 3.5 years, and I'm getting very tired of everything. When it started, I was moving into my ex-girlfriend's place. Before I had moved in with her, I was sleeping on my dad's couch because he was renting my room out. That night, as I was about to fall asleep, I heard crawling on the bricks coming from the backyard, and I decided to ignore it, and I finally passed out. Weeks pass, and I move into my ex's house finally, and things take a turn for the worse. Half of their attic ceiling had collapsed about 7 years prior to me moving in, and they had a couch in the garage for us to sit on while we smoked. I worked late nights at Target, and whenever I'd get off most nights and I'd want to go out there and smoke a cigarette, it was basically to the stress. It wasn't at first, but a month or two in, and every time I went out there and sat down to smoke, I couldn't stop looking up there. I felt so much dread, and at that time, I didn't know why. Weeks had passed, and one day I went out to get a Dr. Pepper. Whenever I pulled it out of the fridge, I began hearing the sounds of a crying child coming from the attic, and it was loud. And so I sat my drink down, climbed up about halfway, and that's when my gut kicked in and said, "Jeremy, there is no child in the attic. Go inside now." So I climbed down, went inside, and then locked the door. Weird things started happening, like tapping coming from the garage, and I just ignored it every time. Finally, I got tired of it, so I went out there and cursed at it, but nothing happened. A few weeks later, I had my smokes and figured it was all in my head. I took 2 steps out, and then it jumped down. I only saw its backside, and it landed in the corner behind a bunch of bins and bed frames. I was in complete shock. After I started hearing it move around, I ran inside like a coward. To this day, it still follows me, and one of my friends saw it a few nights ago. I don't want it to hurt anyone, at least those that I care about, so I'm thinking about confronting it by myself in the woods nearby at night. Oh, also flies are swarming around me anytime I go outside. Vultures and hawks have been circling above my head during the daytime, and I noticed a few days ago that I smelled like a literal corpse when walking back inside the house. It was so bad I almost threw up. That and the streetlights flicker when I'm with my friend while he's driving. That and whenever I go home to my room, my lamp's light will flicker and stop. And then I'll start hearing tapping on my window, but I ignore it every night because I'm not about to mess with it unless I have no other choice in the end. I don't know any advice, but anything would be appreciated. Also, I know my grammar isn't perfect at the moment, and I was drunk and depressed when I wrote this. Just keep your comments on that too, and please, because I'm done replying, and you will just be ignored if it's something bad. And then that's pretty much it. That's everything associated with this user's encounter, Depressed X Potato. And again, they titled theirs as "I'm dealing with something dangerous." So let's go ahead and let's talk about that here. For starters, what a dangerous situation, no? Here in this case, it looks like there's something that they encountered first. It looks like in their ex-girlfriend's place. It was strange because apparently they had some kind of thing that jumped down, somewhere in the area where the bricks were in the back area of that home. I think that's, if you call it the backyard, basically. And then that's when he first heard it, but then ignored it. And then a couple weeks later at another location, in this case, another person's house, they described it into their ex's house. That's when things took, in their words, a turn for worse. Whatever it was that was at the ex-girlfriend's house was now over at their other ex's house, and this time it was there and it was causing so much more havoc. Apparently it liked to have its presence in the attic too. How about that, right? When it comes to having a home within a home, in this case this crawler basically living up and being another roommate of sorts up there. And it pretty much knew that this person, this user, and they identified themselves, it looks like, as Jeremy, knew that they were up there, and they decided to almost play with them, making these scratching noises, making the sounds of a crying child, making those tapping noises too, and then also having almost like a weird sense, as he called it, of dread. The idea that anytime he went to go inspect up there, he got that notion to get the hell out, to basically go inside instead and then lock everything behind him. But then it finally happened. Then that's when he finally saw this thing. I wish that the user, Jeremy, was able to describe more about it. We're going by the notion that it's a crawler because they posted it here within the crawler sighting subreddit, but I wish they would have described it other than its backside. Like, I wish they would have seen it more on the lines of posting something like, how, the long gangly arms or the pale white skin or maybe the bulbous eyes, something along those lines. But maybe it was just everything that they saw at the same time. Either way, though, it seems like this thing actually placed a curse, too. It's almost like they did something when it came to its presence being found, and it's being seen, like it's actually visible now to the user. And then because of it, that user now says that they have all these bad things happening, lights flickering, both on the streets and then also inside their room, and then also those tapping noises just continuing, and then that weird thing involving a corpse-like smell associated with them. What's up with that? If someone wants to mention more on that, please let me know. There was a little bit of hints, I think this could have been more on the lines of a skinwalker as well, but I don't know. Like, this is a weird situation where altogether here you have something involving a reservation or nearby a reservation, and then here you have a situation involving a crawler, but it seems to definitely have other types of characteristics too. They left it open as well to it continuing. It looks like on a continuous basis. Like, here you had it happen several weeks, and then presumably now even longer. They didn't mention anything about it being gone, like they're no longer hearing it. So even now, as of this moment, maybe whoever's hearing this video, this poor dude is essentially encountering this thing still every single night. Crazy stuff. That would be the kind of stuff that would drive someone to madness almost. But let me know what you guys think. Post those comments below. Is it a crawler? Is it a skinwalker? Is it something else? Let me know, please. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.